Yeah, you look like you're in prison for some reason, but that's okay. We might end up that way anyway. Anyway, wow, historic day, huh? How do you feel about this?
Yeah.
I'm sad, I have to tell you. I'm overwhelmed.
I
I
know
mean,
you are.
I was saying this. Just imagine if someone accuses you of a crime that you know you didn't commit. Even if you know you didn't commit it, even if most of your friends know you didn't commit it, just the fact that someone accuses you of that, it hurts. In this particular case, I feel like half the country has been indicted, or no, actually, half the country has been indicted, has been accused, and is being convicted as we speak, without fairly being tried.
Well, yeah, well, some people are saying, it's a Marxist show trial, a communist show trial, and, you're an attorney. Attorneys could twist things however they want to twist it. I mean,
Right.
In my limited knowledge, this might sound crazy. I learned this from that OJ trial. It's like,
Okay.
facts don't matter. Let's keep a cloud over something. There might be some doubt.
Yeah.
Someone might have had an intention of doing something, even though they didn't do it.
Yep.
And, I think it's a sham. And we spoke about the boy that cried wolf. We grew up with that.
Yeah, it's a dog day for America, I have to say. Yeah, I think it's dog day
from day one.
Yeah, dog day for democracy, actually. Yeah, unbelievable.
Maybe it's a great day. I mean, maybe it's a good day of revealing how extreme some of these politicians will go to keep their power.
Yeah.
And the question we always ask is, wow, they must have a lot to hide. The Democratic Party, they must have a lot to hide. I mean, if they really are willing to throw a million things on a wall and hope it, sits. I mean, should I go down the line? Kavanaugh, then the woman who said she was raped by Kavanaugh. I mean, we have the Ukraine talking about Russian collusion, right?
Right.
Then the emoluments clause.
Yeah.
Then he's unfit for office.
Right.
Trump is Hitler. Okay.
No,
Trump
I've heard actually
anti-Jewish.
Yeah, Trump is apparently worse than Mao Zedong, Hitler, and Stalin combined, or something like that.
I mean, it's madness.
Yeah, okay. Right.
I always said this about people, and I'm not going to bring up my divorce, but when someone's that far off, they do something on a regular basis that goes beyond the norm. I need to put them in another category now. They can't be taken serious. So once again, the boy that cried wolf, they were talking about impeachment from day one. An article was written about impeaching.
So they're
from LA.
Yeah, they're categorical lunatics or something like that. And there's something to be said. There seems to be something very real about that Trump derangement syndrome argument. Don't you think? It's unbelievable. I mean, I never seen this in my entire life. We've been through some wars, I have to say, in the streets of New York. And I was a firm member. Actually, I was an attorney and a firm member of the political left for a long time, up until I got properly woke. But thank God I was a Christian through it all, because actually that brought me out of that haze of ideology. But goodness, man, wow, I never seen such animosity in my entire life. All right, let me ask you this, okay? Number one, why such hatred for this president? And it's not just this president, but it's the movement behind him. Why? Because he's a Christian? Is it because he has the nerve to actually affirm Christian values?
That's definitely part of it. And he has the nerve to say, hey, America is unique. It's a great place with Judeo-Christian values. There's opportunity for most of us, and it needs to be preserved. We're in this whole push of this postmodernism and this Marxist philosophy, which says anything out of the West is horrific, and it needs to be destroyed. This hierarchy of white European males needs to be destroyed. So, but this goes back, I mean, someone commented today, I think Ben Shapiro commented, if Nixon was alive today and the same issues occurred, he probably wouldn't have stepped down. So they've upped the the left, where if you tread on them or you do something, it's magnified. but they get away with things.
I've heard two interesting things here. Is it true that actually 5 out of 6 Republican presidents have faced articles of impeachment? Is that true? Unbelievable. Is that true?
Oh, I couldn't
Okay.
give you the numbers on that.
Well, let's affirm that. And another one is actually Huckabee is actually saying that this may so work against the Democrats that if, like we expect, Senate to deny removal of office, that actually it will give Trump another 4 additional years. Did you know that? That actually triggers some sort of a.
There's a potential.
I don't know how that works legally. I have to look at that, but that's very interesting.
There's a potential by the Supreme Court
Yeah.
that they could possibly say, I guess they vote on this. I don't think it's happened. But because you guys took 3 years away from Trump.
Interesting.
With all the stress.
Okay, that's what I figured it would be. Yeah.
They could give you extra years.
Oh, really?
3 extra years. But
that's very interesting.
I don't know how that will work. Yeah, it is interesting.
Oh, that would be beautiful.
I mean, just think about that.
Yeah.
The fact that that's even spoken about, that they've been unkind and unjust to the president.
Yeah.
There's such a divide. You're watching the Democrats today who are saying, "Oh, this validates him being impeached."
How does it validate him being impeached? I don't follow the logic.
Right, but I think
a trial invalidates someone. Well, and validates a conviction? No. Evidence validates a conviction.
Yeah. I mean, if I could just comment, the Horowitz report, which came out, and remember, this is before the Durham report's going to come out and Barr.
Yeah.
Barr already stated that he believes, he affirmed that Trump's campaign was spied on.
Yeah.
And, you know, you have Chris Wallace. I don't know if you saw the interview. I saw the interview.
Yeah, I did.
Comey.
Yeah.
And
that was bizarre, I have to say. Wow. Yeah.
Well, what is bizarre? Once again, we use the law. Comey said yes. The FBI was sloppy. And Chris Wallace is like, you could use that term sloppy, but it's beyond sloppy. I mean, you don't just poo-poo this away. You're the head of the FBI. I mean, did you know about this? And Comey, who wants to be all-knowing, now surrenders and says, hey, I have 38,000 people who work under me, and they're all doing their own job. It's hard to get involved in every aspect of an investigation. I don't want to be biased or muddy the investigation. And Wallace is like, you didn't say this, but the buck stops with you. You basically said the Steele dossier was just one of the many reasons why a FISA warrant was granted. But Horowitz is saying, as Nunes said, and many others, Congressman Nunes, no, the dossier, which is paid for by Hillary Clinton, was the epicenter or the main reason why there was a FISA warrant. If there wasn't a FISA warrant, I mean, you wouldn't have the investigation. It wouldn't have gone through without the dossier. So once again, Comey, downplays that. And just like Schiff did when he was on Chris Wallace. Yes, I heard about the 17 inaccuracies.
Inaccuracies, all in the same direction, too, right? 17 inaccuracies, 17 inaccuracies, all in the same direction,
Yeah, but he just says, Schiff, the FBI needs to, get better and improve.
Get better, okay, right. Okay. Wonderful understatement.
Heads need to roll.
Exactly.
No one's heads need to roll on the Democratic side. It's just, okay, we made a mistake. Move on. It's madness.
But it's obvious.
So obvious.
It's obvious that they timed this. They timed this with the Horowitz report and the Barr report that's coming out, and they're trying to overcome these reports. That's what they're trying to do.
Well, I think they're trying to eat him before he eats them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He gets them supposedly.
That must be the reason why they were.
It's not even mentioned.
Yeah, that must be the reason why they were rushing this, I would imagine. They also promised their far left base that they would get this done by Christmas, so they made that promise. And obviously, the long run goal is to confuse people enough so that independent voters would actually make a difference come 2020. That's what they're hoping for. Okay, fantastic.
Yes.
Anyway, I think it's gonna fail, and I hope it does fail. I think God is, if I dare I say, I think God is on the side of the political right. I used to think that actually God was on the side of the political left when we were fighting the civil rights movement in the mid 60s to early 70s, but goodness, right? No, I don't think so. I think we're on the right side of history is what I'm trying to say here. Yeah, you tell me.
Well, we talk about the truth being muddied, I should say. What is the truth?
Yeah.
And if you have this giant Democratic Party, which owns the mainstream media, we spoke about this, which I don't see anyone getting banned on Facebook that's a leftist. Maybe you could educate me. I know conservative thought has been banned.
I never heard that before. Yeah. It's like the 17 mistakes of the FBI on the dossier that all go in one direction. Everyone who's banned are from political right, without a doubt. But I mean, okay, I'm just trying to understand why there's so much animosity against this president. One, that he's unapologetic. Well, he's a wrecking ball, as we say. He attacks the elite. So of course the elite are responding. The elite in the media, the elite in academia. You see them all coming out. Right? They're all coming out of the woodwork to attack this man. Our political representatives, people in the bureaucracy, they're all members of the elite. And that's one of the wonderful lessons here. The lesson that I'm learning here is how the elite has been exposed. The deep state seems to have been exposed, at least the upper layer. Well, the first layers of the deep state. And actually, when it comes to former directors and deputy directors of the CIA, the intelligence service, actually, they're being exposed too. They can't even contain themselves in the hatred for this president, right? On some palpable hatred, simply because he challenged them and their authority, it seems to me. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and, we're finding out, of course, Biden's son getting $130,000 up to $130,000 a month. Being on a board. His father ran the Ukraine. His ties with China. And Giuliani, I don't know, it's a little odd him being out there finding this info now. I don't know where that's going to end up. But he's saying billions of dollars in fraud.
Yeah.
So
he's talking about that. I think what he's uncovering even now as we speak, and I kind of love this. I have to say, man, they're all unapologetic, tough New Yorker types. Educated in on the hard tops of the Bronx, as we used to say, right? Unbelievable. Yeah, so Giuliani is out there now, and he's claiming that actually, no, this amounts to about $9 billion worth of money laundering to the Ukraine. And I'm sure there are a lot of dirty hands in the people who are pushing the buttons on this Ukraine and this Russian hoax. Unbelievable. Wow. Yeah. Not to mention,
that's a big number.
Not to mention the 1.5 billion in China. So actually, they've been bringing up during this impeachment hearing, the House vote on the people's floor. They've been mentioning how Donald Trump, once his phone call was exposed, that he doubled down on the White House lawn, and he said, yes, that I hope they do expose this in the Ukraine, and he said China should expose corruption too. And the Democrats are throwing this out as him making some sort of an admission. No, it's actually the opposite. There's nothing to be ashamed of. Actually, he's doing the people's work by exposing corruption at the highest levels of these governments that we've been funding and working with, right? Which is
that's his job.
The reason why half the country put our heart and soul and our hide in his campaign and supported him and are continuing to support him for that very reason, to expose things like this. Yeah. Goodness. He would be derelict in his duty if he weren't doing something like this. Wow.
Right. I think that's a valid argument, and the Democrats just don't like that their person who's running for the position, Biden, who's running for president, is the person that is the center of this. I mean, it's so obvious. I told you this, and I don't listen to Howard Stern, but Hillary was on his show. And my friend said, oh, you got to listen to this. It's great. It's unbelievable how everything was a lie.
Exactly. Right. Right.
No, it's actually shocking. It's like me telling you I never dated my wife. I mean, you know I did. You have pictures of us and this and that. I mean, she's basically was saying
what was she saying?
Was, an outcast and being a woman. Trump was the entrenched candidate.
Oh my goodness!
And here she was, a little woman, poor
a little woman,
going against the establishment.
Oh my goodness!
I mean, it's madness.
Well, who buys that?
I mean,
maybe Whoopi Goldberg.
There's no truth anymore.
Oh my goodness! Maybe Whoopi Goldberg. Maybe the members of the View buy that, but who really buys it? Oh, that's a discussion that we had. Do they really buy it? These people in the media, these people in Congress, do they really buy these lies? Are they?
No, I think they just have a team.
Okay, are they that deceived, or are they deceiving? Is the question that I have. What do you think?
I think they're deceiving.
Okay.
I think they're deceiving.
You don't think it's a question of Trump derangement syndrome that it's found itself within their synapses? You think actually they're actually just, doing the game that they learn in their elite institutions and are just manipulating words and manipulating ideas, very deceptively. You think that's what they're doing? They're being deceived.
Yeah, and I think they know who's buttering their bread. They know who's writing their checks, and they told what to say. It's not that complicated. If you put on some of these shows, they all have the same taglines.
I know.
No one's above the law.
Yeah. It looks like they're reading from a script that's been handed to them. Yeah.
Of course they are.
Right. By staff.
Of course they are. They get an email. I'm sure they get an email.
Yeah, that this is what you need. Yeah, this is the line you have to tell.
Speak about.
Yeah, of course. I think so too. It seems that
it came out a month ago, Project Veritas, where they had they interviewed the CNN guy, I believe, CNN. He said, we're supposed to push this impeachment. Push impeachment. Of course they get told what to say.
It's unbelievable.
There's very few who are free to run and say what they want to say,
But do they really think this may work? I mean, who was it? Was it Tlaib? Where I had some sort of a town hall meeting about a month and a half ago in D.C., I think it was? Or was it in Detroit? Where she talked about, some of the questions that we're considering is, well, how do we finally get him arrested once he's impeached? I mean, man, they're incredible. Are they just, once again, deceiving? Or do they believe this nonsense? Or maybe they know something we don't know. Maybe the fix is that deep. The fix is so fixed that maybe they know something that we don't know. I was a little worried that a couple of senators would probably be bought off, but you don't think that's possible, right? Unbelievable.
No, I mean, plenty of them have to be bought off.
I think it's possible. There are a lot of people who dislike this man for whatever reason because he is the way he is. I mean, let's face it. You either love him or hate him.
He's getting things done.
Yeah, you love him or hate him.
Things done.
Yeah, he shows up the inefficiency, the corruptness. Yeah, you think so? All right. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Well, once again, it's a deeper argument. We discussed this. There truly is a war going on.
Of course.
There's a war on Western values and this postmodernists,
right?
Who are anti-Israel, right?
Yeah.
They're anti-Western culture. We talk about them being anti-Christian.
Yeah.
Or anti-truth also.
Right.
Truth, logic. And I think that's very obvious. And they know who's paying their bills, and they have to keep pushing this.
All right. So
I'm afraid.
Yeah. So
I'm afraid, as Mark said, I believe Mark said this. Accuse those what you are really guilty of. So they keep accusing him of this, and Trump's a wrecking ball.
Yeah.
He brought the embassy to Jerusalem. He's the one that's saying, no, we got to close the borders. He's the one that's saying, hey, China, this isn't free trade.
Yeah.
You've been taking advantage of us for a long time.
Right.
Now we're going to have to, have free trade.
Right.
He's making these tough decisions that all these other politicians have just pushed along. NAFTA. He's addressing that.
Let me tell you, I don't want to overly toot his horn because, I don't want to be deceived myself. I don't want to be disappointed. But let me tell you, he may go down as one of the most important leaders that not only the United States, but the West has seen in a generation, in a number of generations. And I think going back as far back as FDR, of course, and Teddy Roosevelt. You can go almost always, maybe as far back as Abraham Lincoln. You tell me. I mean, it's amazing.
The question is, who's going to write the story?
No, but aside from that, I mean, okay, that stuff is written in heaven. Don't worry about that. Or maybe a future generation, depending on who wins this, may look back at this time and may see that as a fact.
Well, I ask you one question.
Yeah, tell me.
Ready for my one question?
Yeah, please.
How many articles have you read with the title, Trump Leads Conservative Movement, that has inspired Britain, Israel, Brazil, Italy, France, and Poland? I haven't read too many. I don't know.
No,
I'm
not
sure
too
some are out there.
No, I've just seen commentators like us on YouTube. You know, God preserve. So
there you go.
God preserve.
Alternative media.
God preserve. Yeah, the alternative media. Yeah, go ahead, please. You know, this has to be kept open.
But there's no talk.
Yep.
You don't hear, let's say, Time Person of the Year.
Yep.
You do not hear, you know, hey, this guy's ideology and his policies and his ability to be resilient has created a conservative movement which is sweeping over the world. Now, Boris Johnson winning that, the votes, what his party did is amazing.
No, it's incredible.
What are they saying in Britain? We are an independent nation. We want to be sovereign.
Right.
We want to be able to decide what is Britain and what isn't Britain.
Right.
You know, the country has been bombarded with multiculturalism and socialism for such a long period of time. That they need to hold on to their British culture, right? When I go visit you in France, I want to experience French culture. I really don't want to experience American culture or culture from Afghanistan. If it's there, I want to take it, but I want France to be France. I want Afghanistan to be Afghanistan, or North Africa to be North Africa. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right. So, okay, just to summarize here, the reason why there seems to be so much hatred for this personality and the people behind him is because he's unapologetic about certain truths of the political left. He's unapologetic about supporting the West as it being special. He's unapologetic about this thing called democracy and liberalism that's historically associated with the West. He's unapologetic about the special place of America as being the bulwark, as being the soldier for democracy in the world in the last 250 years. He's unapologetic about a certain corpus of values that come from a certain tradition, that is to say, the Judeo-Christian tradition, as met by what was special that came out of Athens and came out of ancient Greece, the Hellenistic world. So, you know, the idea of certain ways of looking at the world that came from both Athens and Jerusalem, and how they met themselves so perfectly, well, in Christendom, Europe for some time, for a long time, and then New Europe, which is America. He's unapologetic about his critique against political correctness. He's been trying to correct the language in a way that's meaningful. He's unapologetic about the idea that actually there are certain transcendent truths. He's unapologetic about the idea that there are certain transcendent values, ways of being, what we might call virtues. What else? He's unapologetic about his critique against, let me say, the welfare state. And the corollary of that is that he's unapologetic about supporting a free market, right? Of course, I don't think, and there's really no one on the planet who's perfectly free market. They're not perfectly laissez-faire. They actually support essentially the New Deal version, the Keynesian version of the market, which is fine. But I mean, once we go beyond that, he's pretty unapologetic about his critique against socialism and about making arguments about woe unto those who follow in the footsteps of countries like Cuba and Venezuela. Anyway, there you go.
Yeah. I mean, look how far left the Democratic Party has come. I mean, we are talking about Bernie Sanders and now Warren. I mean, these are they're Marxists.
Yeah.
We've gone this far. This would be unheard of.
Yeah.
Limited.
Well, what's that expression? What have they been saying that actually
occurring in America?
They've been saying that actually Sanders is too socialist for even Scandinavia, that he wouldn't be able to get elected in Denmark. Yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, because they have private market, they have a stock market.
Well, we went on this numerous times. I mean, if you look on the free market index of countries, these various lists, Sweden and Denmark are up there.
They're against the minimum wage, for goodness sake. They're against the minimum wage. They're for the free market. They're, on the index
property ownership, business.
Yeah, on the index of economic freedom, the Scandinavian countries, the Scandinavian countries are actually not in the direction of North Korea in terms of command economies, but actually they're very far up.
Totally
within the top 5 or top 10 in terms of free market economies, even as much as the United States. But yet we tout them as being perfect examples of a socialist system.
Well, we don't tout them. Bernie Sanders does when it's convenient. And so does maybe the congresswoman in New York without telling the whole truth. And, I said this numerous times. The first thing that these countries violate, Bernie Sanders and the congresswoman in New York's view, is they are homogeneous. So diversity's not there. That's problem number one. Okay? Problem number two, they're very small. And number three, as I've been saying, free enterprise has been paying for their lavish programs. And they hit a retrogression in the 70s with their bureaucratic policies. Now they've resorted back to more free enterprise. It's easy to open up a business. There's less red tape. Even hospitals have free enterprise, and that companies are able to compete. There are vouchers for schools. Property ownership is high. So all these things are, and people are taxed very high. Even the lower class are taxed at a rate. So these are all issues that are the antithesis of what Bernie's talking about. I don't know what they're talking about.
We should wrap this up. This is it's not a happy day today. You can't say that. It's actually some sort of a wake, isn't it? But maybe it may lead.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
But maybe you have to pass through fire in order to get to the promised land. So maybe this may.
That's how I feel, because it's almost like apologizing for something you didn't do. Like, this is going to happen. You knew they were going to do this. You knew it would be a sideshow. It's very partisan. And they think being a president is something that could just be taken like that.
But we don't know what's going to happen 1 year from now. All we can promise is that it's going to be a very, very interesting year. It's about the most, I think, important year, certainly in our lifetime. Certainly with respect to our political life. I can't think of any more important year than this year. 2020 is
the question's going to be asked, who's going to fight like Trump?
I think
there's anyone that's going to carry.
Well, I think there's quite a lot of them, actually. I think the good members of the House and of the Senate and members of the cabinet and even members in the alternative media, I have to say that we've all been birthed by fire. Like you and I are inspired just to pick up a mic here, right? This is our opportunity to join the resistance of sorts.
Well, I wouldn't use the term resistance.
It is resistance.
That's what the Democrats use.
Well, so the French against the Nazis. There are a couple of lessons I just wanted to draw out here as this argument is going on the House floor. One of which is the divide between people of the country and people of the city. People who are who actually been reared in really elite, like Northeastern and California type schools, like the Ivy League, Yale comes up quite often, Georgetown and such. Versus those, have you noticed actually those who are really picking up the mantle to fight for the president, fight for those who are behind the president, that they're actually from pretty, modest schools. I mean, it's quite interesting. And they're just putting the rest to shame.
Well, think about Reagan, think about Nixon.
Yeah.
They came from modest places. Eureka College.
Whittier.
Nixon went to a small school.
He went to Whittier, but he went to Duke, so I don't know about that.
No, I know, but he went to a small school. He grew up very poor.
He was a Quaker.
That's a knock. Well, that's a knock they had on JFK. That JFK was, an elitist. His father got him the election. Whose father made his money illegally, right?
But it's shocking how notwithstanding their efforts to tell us, to steal our vote away from us, to determine our future against our constitutional rights, that actually people are rising up. And I think they're learning a lesson in humility. We may be deplorables, but I think it's fine. So long as we use it against them. How about that? We show that actually
as Obama stated,
we're deplorables, let me just say, are the people who suffer the most and work the most and are are most privy to common sense. That's the point that I'm trying to make here.
As Obama said.
And when you stick to common sense and you thread as much as you can the line of truth, that no matter how articulate you are, I mean, no matter how intelligent people like Schiff might be, they're going to fail in the end. But tell me, sorry, as Obama said, yeah.
I don't know. But as Obama said, you have groups that cling to their guns and their Bibles.
Okay.
I think he should have added they cling to their families also, and they cling to morality and truth.
Okay,
and,
so I can endorse about 4 out of 5 of those. Go ahead. Sorry, man.
When you talk about the coasts,
yeah,
I think the East Coast and the West Coast, we bombarded with so much opportunity, so much media, that we've become selfish, and we're living our best life, as they would say, which is madness. If you're a Bible person, you realize that life's supposed to be tough. It's supposed to be a struggle, a tough sleigh ahead. So it's not all about total indulgence, living your best life, getting in the best shape, having the nicest things. That's not satiating enough,
Yeah. Good. So
great talk. We'll talk.
Yeah, let's talk. I think we should make the case that one cannot hold in one vision being a Christian and being part of today's political left.
You got it. All right. Thanks.
Thank you, cuz. See you soon. Keep well. Right. Keep strong. Where are you going?